Welcome back to another video. This is just going to be another quick breakdown of another trade. You probably might have seen the previous video. I'm going to film this one on the exact same day, just didn't have the time to film that on the day. But yeah, this is another trade that was taken. It was more so a counter trend trade to try and catch the bigger move. It was mainly just catching the retracement for my bigger move, which unfortunately price didn't tag me in. I'm not sure what happened there, but I took it on one of my prop firm accounts and price didn't tag me in. So yeah, this is going to be a breakdown of a trade that was taken towards that main trade, which I'll break down the thought process behind that as well. But yeah, this trade right here, so we'll go up to the higher time frame. We'll go to the daily just to make it a bit more clear. Obviously, as I mentioned in the previous video as well, what we currently have is price moving up to this daily order block. Now, that being said, we were expecting a reaction from there, or price to potentially go higher and sweep these highs as well, which what happened here is price for our trade. Actually, you know what, let me go on replay mode just so it's a little bit easier to see. We obviously tapped into that on that Friday, and we were expecting either price to have a big reaction to the downside or for price to go up higher. That being said, we obviously had a look at this, and I was expecting to see all of these get swept, but we will see what happens on the 4 hour. All right, on the 4 hour time frame, we saw that rejection. And that's when I thought, right, okay, this might be a good point for me to enter. It's a Monday. Yes, Mondays aren't the greatest, but usually Monday and Tuesday, sort of early week, is where we get a, let's say, high or low of the week's sort of put in place as well, which makes it easier for us to get into trades and sort of have an area of invalidation, and just to manage our trades as well. It just makes it a lot easier. So that being said, this is what we were seeing on the 4 hour time frame. Now, what I wanted price to do was come back lower into this area, tag us in, and then this would have been our main move, right? Basically buys from this level. So I had limits actually set here, but we didn't get tagged in, unfortunately, which would have been a very beautiful trade, but we didn't get tagged into that one. That being said, we did get tagged into this one, and this was also a beautiful trade. Now, just to break it down, what was my thought process? Obviously, from our previous trade, these were the points, all right, of structure. This was pretty much an area where you know, price just failed to break, price came lower, and then we saw that massive impulse taking out all of these liquidities, stop losses, whatever you want to call them. But that being said, this showed me that the shorts were going to be very probable, and I had a really good place to target them, which was actually at there. Now, why would I target that? Well, first of all, this is liquidity. We have beautiful liquidity here. Why? Because this low is an invalid low to me. It is a weak low. Why? Because price pretty much failed at these levels, right? This level failed, meaning that this to me was just liquidity. Price, as you can see, right, broke up here, right? After this low was set, this was our high, meaning that this is just liquidity, this is just noise. You could say whatever, right? That's what the way I looked at it. So that being said, we saw this, and that's what I was targeting. Now I took this on the hourly time frame. That's pretty much where we saw this trade take place. Now I'm going to show you where Monday opened, right? We'll come up to here. This is what I was seeing, right? This is exactly what I was seeing, and this was pretty good. We obviously had the previous week's high, which is liquidity, but obviously the fact that we've obviously tapped into this daily order block, and we saw that selling pressure come in, price went up higher, failed to break anything, and price proceeded to break these lows. That was an indication that this could be a good trade, and obviously it ticked my rules, so hence the reason why I took it. I could have been completely wrong, but again, this wasn't my main trade, so obviously risk was going to be lower. It was going to be a much tighter risk management on the trade as well. The main move would have been longs from this area. So that being said, we came into into London session, price opened up, and I had my limit set there. Obviously we have our high potential high of the week, so that's why I marked it as that, and our stop loss was pretty much around this area. Obviously I could have gone and protected this as well, but for me it wasn't worth the risk of taking a trade if my stop was going to be all the way up there, because that would give us a much lower risk reward. So yeah, I think I had it at 3 risk reward, but either way it doesn't matter. Let's just say whatever there. But yeah, the other thing that we also had in the week was we had news. We had red folded news, so that was another thing that I was a little bit sort of cautious about. But after sort of taking this trade, we can see price proceeded to move lower, right, up until we got news, right. Now when news did happen, by this time I already had my stop losses managed to these highs right here. I had shaved a little bit of risk because obviously we are counter trend trading, and I didn't want to leave a lot of risk on the table just in case, you know, news wanted to shoot straight up. But after we saw that reaction, I did want to leave it a bit of breathing room. I did move my stop loss to that potential high of the week, and then eventually to my break even point, and there you go, right. So that was the initial trade that we took, right. So as you can see, price went and swept that, tapped into that area, and eventually we also see price leaving us behind, which was a very emotional day for me. My heart was broken. I sat in a corner crying, but it happens. You just got to get up. Yeah, I mean, reality is if you're going to be sitting in a corner crying when price leaves without you, or you don't get tapped in, or your stop loss got hit, really and truly you should not be trading. So if you actually believe that I was crying in a corner, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was pretty much the trade breakdown. Quite simple. Again, that's sort of how we like to trade. There's no need to overcomplicate it. Simple, just high time frame alignment with our trades, and just managing the trade properly. Obviously there you could be taking hundreds of trades within the 5 minute and the 15 within this area, and you probably get stopped out quite a lot of times, hence the reason why I've moved over to the high time frames. It's less trading, meaning less positions, less exposure, and it's just a lot more peace of mind. You're more aligned with the bigger move, you're aligned with the bigger picture. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I do actually have positions running as we speak, so we'll see how that goes. I've actually got sells from here, so we'll see how that goes. Could be a loser, could be a winner, whatever it is. Once that trade is complete, I'll make a breakdown of that as well. But yeah, except from that, hope you all have a good trading week ahead, and I shall catch you guys on the next one.